All right, so once again, we're getting some great ground shots of, looks like people coming away from the campus here into safety. You see that they have a perimeter set up. Police here. Oh, we're going to have an interview here. Pull it up.
We were in, Engineering 5.
Okay. Yeah, Shepard, he just came out from Engineering 5. I'm sorry, your name?
Nick Belly.
Nick, so did you hear anything when this went down about an hour ago?
We got 2 emails from Bruin Alert System just letting us know about an active shooter. They told us to lock down and stay in our office. We were in there for about an hour, and then police came in and had us evacuate. So we are here now.
The engineering hall is pretty large, obviously. Did you guys hear anything, see anything?
Didn't hear anything, didn't see anything except police activity.
A massive police presence inside, I assume?
Yeah.
Kevin, how long were you in there? What was happening while you were in there?
We were there since 10 in the morning, and then it's been almost 2 hours, and we were locked in the bathroom, 7th floor bolter, and we just stay put and stay down. That's all we did.
I was in math, and we got the message, and we all just ran as a group up, and we tried to find a room to lock ourselves in. We were in the bathroom, so I heard a couple pops outside a window, but we didn't see anything, and we didn't move out of the bathroom until the officers came. I mean, we were on the 7th floor, so we saw the news on Twitter, and we were just waiting. And then when the officers came, we had to double check it was really officers and not the shooter pretending to be an officer.
Where are they from Southern California? Did you get in contact with them?
Yes, I just texted them right before we came out of the building, and then I just want to tell you I'm safe, and then hope everybody else is safe too.
Sorry, we need to go. Come this way.
Bueno, ya se los están llevando precisamente, le digo, este es un operativo tan importante que tienen que mantener la seguridad incluso también de las personas.
Which is in a place called Bolter, which is right next to the engineering building, and it said like shooter, and then we just bolted out of there, and ran up to the 7th floor of one of the buildings, and then hid in the bathroom for like an hour and a half, and we tied the bathroom hinges, the door hinges, with belts, to keep the door closed because there's no locks.
It was just very, very surreal. Everything happened really fast, and I just got up and ran, and then police told me to run further.
It's so horrific, and to have it happen here, it's crazy. People were saying they saw an assault rifle.
Apparently, she saw the guy in Bolter. She was getting coffee, and she saw the guy, and she just ran. She saw a bunch of people running, and she saw the guy, and she was so scared for her life or something. And then she just ran.
And I actually hear about it from America a lot, like campus shooting in America. That's the news that we get. So for me, it feels like, oh yeah, I'm in America. This was supposed to happen, actually.
It seemed a bit surreal, and mostly I was just hoping that he wouldn't come into our building.
Matt is a student from Belgium, and if you can believe this, today is actually his very first day on the UCLA campus. When you got the tweet, when you found out what was going on, I saw you kind of frantically on your computer trying to get information. What are your thoughts as a first day student?
It's like, what the fuck is happening over here? Sorry about that.
Sorry.
What's happening? So just I couldn't understand every policeman coming at the same time on the campus. Oh, what is happening?
I mean, you're scared. You're trying to get in touch with your family at home. You're worried.
Of course. I was thinking about everybody involved in it and trying to find information about what's happening right now.
There's terrorism going on right where you live, whether it's at UCLA, whether it's in Charleston, South Carolina, no matter where it is. Of course, you're not going, no matter what gun law. The person we spoke to here is from Charleston. No matter what the gun law is, you're not going to get rid of all violence. You're not going to get rid of all gun violence. But I will say Australia, they had a mass shooting a decade or two ago. They abolished guns in the country, and there hasn't been one since. Come on in. So I want you to go up close because the way this works is we don't have a mic. So
I was actually born in Auckland, New Zealand, and the continent of Australia, it's Oceania, that's called the continent. It's New Zealand and Australia. There was a huge vanishing of guns. And Willow Wren.
And
I am Caleb Mixon.
Cool. So you guys actually are not students. You were around town eating breakfast, and you know people here, so you rushed down. Tell me from the beginning of when you got here and the whole process of what happened.
Well, basically, yeah, like you said, we were having breakfast, and we know some of the students here. She has some personal friends, and so we saw it was happening live, and we saw the initial SWAT team basically, setting up to go infiltrate one of the buildings.
We were initially at Denny's. We saw what was going on. We saw that there were shooters, and we have a couple of friends that live in the area, so we decided to come down here and try to get as much footage as we could, because the best footage reported is footage from, the people. And so we actually got caught up in the second call where they called us in for a barricade, where we were actually...
Wait, slow down, because people don't know what that means.
I talked to a couple of the students, and they gave me some pretty deep information that they had heard the first gunshots in the South Campus, which is right next to the building where the engineering is, next to the kids' math class as well. And then she said that her friend also heard shootings off campus in the off-campus dorms on, on Brune Street. She said that her friends heard 6 shots on Brune Street.
As you look at that video, I want to bring in now the ASB president, Danny Siegel. You were in a different building. You were watching all of this unfold on the news. Can you tell me, especially as someone who's leading the student government here, how were you all feeling?
I mean, it was a feeling of surreal, just like watching the footage that you're talking about, seeing students that halls that we'd walk by every day for class, and seeing police walk by with assault rifles, and seeing students lined up and being frisked. It was a feeling of surreal, and then more than that, really of fear more than anything. The thinking that this could happen on our campus. I mean, you see it happen around the country. Unfortunately, you've seen mass shootings, you've seen college campuses. I mean, even go back to Columbine. To think it happened at UCLA, at my school, I mean, it was just utter disbelief.
Now, when the alert first went out and you guys didn't know where the shooter was, what did you do inside your classroom?
We were just all like, social media was so prevalent. So many students, whether it be the app GroupMe on Facebook, so many students are like, stay in the room that you're in, lock the doors, do not let anyone in, turn off the lights. People said the right things, and I think at the first there were still students walking around campus, but I think after they really understood like how dire the situation is, everyone got indoors or got off campus.
Yeah, and I talked to some students, their doors didn't lock, so they locked them with belts. They put chairs, drawers in front of it. I mean, even though all these students are now safe, the psychological trauma is going to be there. So especially as a leader on this campus, what do you think needs to be done now to deal with that aspect?
I think really letting this investigation run its course. We want to see the students who were directly affected. We want to know who the victims were. We want to reach out to their families and the communities that they're a part of on campus and show that we're here for them. We want to be resources for them. We have a lot of resources for mental health. We want to make sure that students feel that they can be at ease. In addition to that, I think this is a wider conversation about, the prevalence of gun violence in our society, and we as a student body, as an association, to see what kind of actions we want to take to, call it out where it exists.
And one of the things that's really struck me, I talked to some students about the text messages they sent to their family when this first happened. One girl telling me that she sent to her mom, "If I don't make it, I love you," which is just so awful to hear. Did you send messages to your loved ones?
Yeah, immediately I called my parents. I was so lucky I was able to get a hold of both of them. They were in the room at the same time, and just reiterating that feeling, like I could hear in my mom's voice the trembling and just really that raw emotion. I was just like, wow, for her to have to go through this more than anything, it was an awful feeling.
Danny, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you.
We will quickly get over it. It will take time to heal. It will take time to cope and to overcome the sadness that has cloaked our campus. But we will do it, and we will do it together. Let there always be light.
I remember going into his office and always seeing a picture of his family on his desk, and that always stood out in my mind because it was front and center. I'm in pure shock. I mean, the whole day it was hard to be at work, and I just can't believe that he was the target. When I heard about it yesterday morning, my first thought was I hope that he was okay, and then I found out that
just like 2 buildings across from where we had locked down, 2 people died.
At the end of the day, the Bruin family is very strong and we all stick together. Bruin strong. I really think that it's an incredible tragedy that gun violence in general on college campuses has become such a normalized experience that for a lot of us, I think in the back of our minds when we see news like this happening at other campuses, there's that moment when you wonder, is this ever going to happen to us? But I think to see people rallying so proactively and so quickly, especially since it's only been a day since it happened, has been really, really inspiring.
United to remember one of their own, a Bruin who proudly and strongly served this campus.
Emotions are still raw for some at UCLA.
It's hard to just go back to normal when someone was murdered on our campus yesterday.
Nina Alavi fought back tears as she spoke about Professor Bill Klug.
He's a member of our family, and I just wanted to leave a message. And since he's an aerospace engineer, I kind of wanted to go off of that, and now he's flying up to heaven.
She and her friend Marissa Efetian started putting up posters with messages about Professor Klug on the bear at Bruin Plaza, and others have now done the same.
I think it's emotional for everyone just because, I mean, especially for me, I didn't think this would happen at UCLA. You know, we feel so protected here, and it was just a big shock to all of us that this would even happen.
Counselors are in place for students, faculty, and staff still struggling to cope with the tragedy.
I thought it was going to be a mass shooting. When you see shooting in a message, I mean, nowadays, you automatically think the worst.
Both of these students admit how frightened they were.
I had a little meltdown because, like, I saw so many cop cars, and I was like, what? You don't think it's a real thing until you see more and more people responding to it, and sorry. It's just a very scary situation to be in, yeah.